We seem to spend our entire lives pursuing a more comfortable existence, don't we? Bigger sofas, more temperature-controlled rooms, more convenient delivery services. But have you ever considered this question? What if this pursuit of ultimate comfort is the very invisible killer that accelerates the aging of our bodies? We received this data today that proposes a very counterintuitive concept called simulated adversity or hormesis. It argues that our body is a sophisticated machine designed to cope with the harsh environments of ancient times will actually rust in the excessively easy life of the modern world. That's right. I think that analogy is superb. It's like buying a top-of-the-line off-road vehicle, but only using it to drive on very flat, paved city roads. Over time, those powerful features like four-wheel drive and differential locks not only become completely useless, they might actually degrade from prolonged use. That analogy is incredibly apt. So, today we will follow the data's logic and embark on an off-road journey for the body. We'll start with an element you would absolutely never expect, iron, and examine its stark relationship with aging. Then, we will delve into the cellular level to find the mysterious switch that activates the body's self-repair system, the so-called survival circuit. Finally, and most importantly, we will discuss several very practical methods, such as exercise and temperature stimulation, to see how we can safely ask for trouble to awaken those dormant longevity genes. 1. The paradox of iron, from a lighter enemy. Let's start with iron. Honestly, this surprised me the most. My understanding has always been that iron is a good thing, and deficiency causes anemia, so we should eat more red meat and spinach. Isn't that common knowledge? That is the fascinating part. It's a delicate paradox of balance. The data cites the view of Dr. David Sinclair from Harvard Medical School, who regards excess iron as a malignant element. Malignant element? Yes, of course. The body absolutely needs iron to transport oxygen. That's certain. But once it exceeds the amount the body can process, it transforms from an ally into an enemy. There is growing evidence that people with chronically elevated iron levels in their bodies genuinely seem to age faster. Hold on, too much iron catalyzes destruction. That sounds a lot like a chemical reaction. How exactly does it cause damage inside our bodies? You've hit the nail on the head. Excess iron ions act like an uncontrolled catalyst, unleashing what could be called a free radical tsunami inside the body. During normal cellular metabolism, a small amount of a byproduct called hydrogen peroxide, HAR, is produced out of familiar double oxygen water. That sounds harmless. The problem arises when there is an excess of unbound iron ions in the body.
They will race ahead of the cleanup crew. Glutathione is the body's main cleaner and react with the hydrogen peroxide. This is like throwing a lead match into a powder keg. This reaction instantly generates a supervillain with exponentially destructive power called the hydroxyl free radical. Wow, just hearing the name sounds bad. How terrible is the hydroxyl free radical? You can imagine it as an uncontrolled pinball bouncing violently inside your cells. It randomly attacks the cell membranes, critical proteins, and even drills into the nucleus to damage your DNA. This continuous internal attack then gives rise to a large number of zombie cells. Zombie cells, what is that? It sounds like science fiction. It has actually a very apt scientific term of senescent cells. The characteristic of these cells is that they are too old to work or die, but they refuse to die. They just sit there, hogging space without doing any work. So, they will like those long-serving employees in the workplace who spread negative energy all day, don't do their own job, and rat on their colleagues. Exactly. And they continuously secrete inflammatory factors, like spreading poison gas throughout the community, contaminating surrounding healthy cells and triggering chronic inflammation. And this is the root cause of many age-related diseases. That makes perfect sense. So, what is the practical warning here? Who needs to be especially careful about this risk? The data specifically points out men and postmenopausal women, because they lack the natural excretion mechanism of the menstrual cycle. Iron is more likely to accumulate beyond normal levels without their knowledge. I see, so If you already have a diet heavy in meat and are supplementing with iron-containing multivitamins without a doctor's guidance, you are essentially providing ammunition for the free radical tsunami in your body. What should we do then? We can completely stop eating iron-containing foods. The key is monitoring, not blind supplementation. The data suggests that the next time you go for a health checkup, you should proactively ask to test for two indicators in serum ferritin and serum iron. If you find that the levels are chronically elevated, there is the simplest, most effective, and most altruistic method of donating blood. Donating blood? I never thought of that. Yes, this not only saves someone's life, but for your own body. It is a gentle way to unload excess iron. By excreting the surplus iron, you directly reduce the oxidative stress inside your body. It's like performing a fire safety inspection for your cellular factory. Wow, so iron in the body can also be a bad neighbor. That makes me even more curious. If the body has this mechanism that causes it to rust, then it should also have a self-protection and maintenance team, right? That survival circuit you mentioned sounds like our body's superhero squad. Awakening the superhero. The survival circuit. You said it perfectly. The survival circuit is the collective name for this superhero squad. The origin of this concept dates back to the 1990s when a scientist named Cynthia Kenyon conducted a revolutionary experiment on a tiny organism called the C. elegans worm. She modified just one gene of the worm, and the lifespan of these worms doubled. Yes, and they remained active in old age, unlike the control group, which became feeble. Doubling the lifespan by changing just one gene, that's truly groundbreaking. Indeed, this discovery completely changed our view of aging. Aging is not purely the wear and tear of a machine used for a long time. It's more like a programmable process that can be actively regulated. And the switch that controls this program is the survival circuit, composed of many longevity genes. But the data also says that in our modern, temperature-controlled, food-abundant lives, this sophisticated system is mostly asleep. That seems like a huge waste, because the body's highest guiding principle is energy conservation. When the environment is comfortable and there is plenty of food, the body decides its peacetime. The primary task is growth and reproduction. So, it allocates all resources to building new cells and storing energy. It sees no need to waste energy on energy-intensive maintenance work like deep DNA repair or cellular garbage cleanup. The superhero squad is only awakened when a crisis appears. Absolutely correct. Only when the body senses a signal of adversity or crisis such as hunger, intense physical exertion, or extreme temperature changes does the alarm sound. The survival circuit is immediately activated. It issues a command to pause all growth plans and shift all resources from construction to defense and maintenance. Only then does the body seriously start repairing DNA, clearing out senescent cells, and strengthening cellular resistance. What are the sensors in the body responsible for detecting these crises? They sound like a management team. The data mentions 3 key executives, acting like an iron triangle. The first is tall. You can think of it as the construction foreman. Its job is to sense the signal of amino acids, protein. As long as you eat enough protein, it deems the raw materials sufficient and maniacally orders the construction of new buildings, promoting cell growth. Once you start fasting or reduce protein intake, it immediately stops construction and orders the repair of old buildings instead. The second is empty. Like the company's energy auditor, it is extremely sensitive to energy levels. When you exercise or feel hungry, the cell's energy currency, ATP, decreases. EMP is activated, shouting energy crisis, and then ordering the body to start burning stored fat, improving glucose utilization efficiency, and even manufacturing new mitochondria, the cell's power plants. And who is the most important commander-in-chief? The commander-in-chief is a certain family of proteins. Their activation depends on a molecule called NADJA. Once activated, search-ones mobilize completely, directing the DNA repair team to fix genetic damage, while also silencing genes that promote inflammation and aging. So, the entire logic of simulated adversity is actually to deliberately and briefly deceive these three executives into thinking a crisis has arrived, thereby activating the body's otherwise deep-seated, powerful defense and repair mechanism. This theory is truly fascinating. But now that I've heard the theory, I'm eager to know how we can actually put it into practice, how to safely deceive our body without genuinely injuring ourselves. 3. Practical steps. The art of safely asking for trouble. That brings us to the most practical part. Among all the methods of simulating adversity, exercise provides the highest value for money (CP ratio), and its significance goes far beyond just burning calories. The data shows that regular exercise can reduce all-cause mortality by 27%. Yes, that is equivalent to directly slowing down your body's aging clock. We can structure this for you as a 3-level exercise pyramid. A pyramid. I'd like to hear more. The first and widest layer of the pyramid is low-intensity activity. The core principle is just one: don't sit still all the time. The goal is to walk 4,000 steps daily. The author of the data mentioned that his own prolonged sitting while writing a book led to muscle atrophy. That's the best warning. Activities like walking or climbing stairs gently activate the energy auditor, EMP, we just discussed. Walking, especially after meals, is extremely helpful for stabilizing blood sugar. Okay, I can manage that foundation. What about the second layer of the pyramid? It should be more challenging. The second layer is called high-intensity exercise. Do this a few times a week, and it doesn't have to be long, maybe just 10 to 15 minutes. The key is to reach a sufficient intensity, getting to the point where you are gasping for air and can barely speak a full sentence. This could be sprinting, jumping rope, or cycling on a spin bike, anything that significantly raises your heart rate. Wait, now I am confused. You spent so much time earlier telling us how terrible free radicals are, calling them the uncontrolled pinballs inside the cell, right? Yes, yet now you are recommending high-intensity exercise, which generates a large amount of free radicals. That sounds completely contradictory. That is an excellent question, and it is the most exquisite and core part of the adversity theory. It's called hormesis. Hormesis, yes, to use an old saying, is fighting poison with poison. The key lies in the dosage. Dosage. Yes, a brief, sharp shock is completely different from long-term, chronic stress. The brief lack of oxygen and the spike in free radicals during high-intensity exercise is like giving the body a vaccine. This stress signal triggers a series of more powerful, positive reactions. For example, the brief lack of oxygen activates a factor called HCl, which encourages the body to grow new capillaries, effectively upgrading your entire circulatory network. And the small amount of free radicals produced by exercise actually triggers mitochondrial stress, stimulating the cells to discard than weak mitochondria and manufacture younger, more efficient new ones. So, it's short-term pain for long-term strength. That's how the body works. What is the peak of the pyramid? The third layer of the pyramid is your bulletproof vest for the future, a strength training. As we age, muscle loss, sarcopenia, is the first domino in health collapse. It is not just a reduction in strength but a comprehensive decline in the metabolic and endocrine system. Strong muscles, especially in the legs, are your lifeline in old age, protecting your bone from fate of which fractures when you inevitably fall. That is very important. More interestingly, the data shows that muscles, when contracted, secret magical molecules that act like a protein, helping to clear senescent cells from the body. So, building muscle is not just for aesthetics, it's also the body's self-contained cleanup crew. This pyramid is very clear, but honestly, high-intensity exercise can still feel like a high barrier for many people. Are there gender introductory methods? See, the magical temperature, cold and heat. Of course, if you are daunted by the thought of gasping for air, perhaps you could try temperature therapy, which can be done in your bathroom at home. Let's start with the cold. I'm already shivering just thinking about the shock of cold water. Is this really not self-torture? It certainly feels like it at first. But the main purpose of cold stimulation is to activate a good kind of fat called brown adipose tissue fat. Unlike white fat, which stores energy, fat is full of mitochondria and that sets the body as built-in heating furnace. A heating furnace? Yes, when you feel cold, fat is activated, directly grabbing sugar from the bloodstream and white fat to burn for heat. So, it's fat-burning fat. Precisely, the data includes an interesting story about wolf mice. Scientists initially thought that a new longevity was due to their genes, but they later discovered the real reason was that their small size made them very sensitive to cold. As a result, their bodies were always slightly shivery, constantly activating that. Later, a kind-hearted lab worker gave them some normal-sized mice as roommates for warmth. Guess what happened? What? Their longevity advantage disappeared. No way. So the scientists had inadvertently turned off the mice's longevity cheat code. That story is quite darkly humorous. It precisely proves that cold stimulation itself is a powerful longevity signal. Conversely, heat stimulation is equally effective, such as sauna use. Large-scale studies in Finland have confirmed that people who use the sauna 4x7 times a week have a much lower risk of death from cardiovascular disease than those who rarely use it. What different mechanism does heat have? High temperatures primarily activate heat shock proteins, HSPs. You can imagine them as the quality control engineers in the cellular factory. In a high-temperature environment, protein structures are prone to becoming deformed or incorrectly folded. This is when the heat shock proteins mobilize to help these proteins return to their correct shape, or tag the damaged proteins for recycling and degradation. This is equivalent to giving your cells a deep quality cleanup. Both cold and heat have benefits. What is the simplest way for people to start? You can start by switching to cold water for 30 seconds at the end of your daily shower, aiming for a point where your body is slightly shivering. Or, sleep with a slightly thinner blanket to keep your body in a mildly cool state. For those who prefer heat, take hot baths or use a sauna more often. The bolder option is to try alternating cold and heat, such as taking a cold shower after a sauna, which simultaneously activates fat and the SPS. The feeling of utter refreshment afterward is your brain releasing endorphins. It is your body rewarding you. Hey, we just went through a crisis, but we survived and are stronger. Looking ahead, the future of adversity. The data also conclude by mentioning a seemingly cutting-edge method as the hyperbaric oxygen chamber, HBOT. Yes, while this equipment is not yet widespread, its principle perfectly validates all the concepts we discussed today. Its goal is to create a dramatic fluctuation from hyperoxygenation to hypoxia. Fluctuation again? Yes, inside the chamber. You intermittently breathe pure oxygen and normal air. When you switch from breathing pure oxygen back to normal air, even though the oxygen concentration in the air is normal for your body, this is a huge drop from extreme oxygen richness to relative oxygen deprivation. So, it relies on tricking the body again. Exactly, this drastic fluctuation causes the body to mistakenly believe, oh no, I'm suddenly severely hypoxic, and immediately activate all emergency repair mechanisms. The effect is as if you were lying there doing nothing. yet yourself think you're running a marathon. Research in Israel found that after a period of treatment, the participants' telomeres, the indicator at the end of chromosomes related to lifespan, actually lengthened by 20%. Yes, and the number of senescent cells in the body also significantly decreased. That is incredible. Although most of us cannot access it, it certainly proves the core point: a challenging and fluctuating environment is for better than a constant, comfortable environment for stimulating the body's potential. Conclusion and a question for you. Let's summarize today. From the paradox of iron to awakening the body's superhero cellular circuit, and then to various practical methods of safely seeking adversity. The core logic is essentially one: we possess a body designed for wilderness survival, but we have locked it in an overly comfortable, temperature-control cage. All the methods we discussed today, whether it's the gasping for air from exercise, the shock of cold water, or brief hunger, are essentially using an ancient biological language to converse with our dormant genes, telling them, hey, wake up. There's a situation outside. Stay alert. Prepare for battle. That's right. However, the data also mentions a very interesting development at the end. Scientists are developing a simulated adversity pill, a chemical inducer of hormesis. Theoretically, this pill could chemically activate all the longevity pathways we discussed today. Yes, it sounds like the ultimate gospel for the lazy, doesn't it? You could swallow a pill while sitting on the sofa and gain all the health benefits of running 5 kilometers and taking a cold shower. This leads to a very interesting question, and I'd like to leave it with you to consider. If that perfect pill truly existed one day and was placed right in front of you, allowing you to completely bypass all the sweat, the gasping, and the bone-chilling cold water to achieve the final health outcome, would you swallow it without hesitation? In other words, in the process of fighting gravity to lift a barbell, pushing our limits in the cold, and forcing ourselves to run the last kilometer when exhausted, is there also something embedded that the perfect pill can never grant us? Something like the refinement of willpower, the sense of control over our own bodies, and that primal, untamed vitality that arises from overcoming difficulty. Perhaps this question is worth pondering the next time we step outside our comfort zone.